although he would go out for weekends, I would literally help him get ready to go meet a Sidechick by ironing his clothes and getting him ready for the night. And these are all things I was graced to do.
We are going to get right into it because what I came across...
But I met her, she was 175.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm used to 125 too.
Yeah.
She 5'6", 175, and she was the wrong color.
I'm still recovering from it. I saw this TikTok of this girl, and this TikTok brought me to a whole video. And guys, what I've heard just made my whole entire skin crawl. Now, I know I don't need a lot for my skin to crawl because you already know me, Deb Unfiltered. Now, I want us to look at this TikTok because for the life of me, I do not. Let's look at it.
My pastors are Reginald and Kelly Steele, the pastors of Kingdom of the Valley in Phoenix, Arizona, the church that God told me to go to when I first moved here. And I can tell you from what you've seen on that podcast they did, that's exactly what they do at church. Let me explain. My very first Sunday there, God told me to go there. I did not want to go there. It had nothing to do with them. I just didn't want to go in the building. My very first impression of this ministry, he was preaching that Sunday, and he came out in the audience, and he comes down and he preaches on the floor. And he had made a couple comments and a couple jokes about his marriage and about his wife. Now, I didn't even know who his wife was. But then the lovely cameraman put the camera on her and put her on the big screen. And I was like, and she's just laughing and smiling. And I was so uncomfortable for her. That was one of the most cringiest moments I've ever seen in church. And what was more absurd was the fact that I am looking around and the people were laughing with him. Because they talk about their marriage all the time. And I was new. This is new to me. I don't find it funny. It was nothing funny about what he said. I had second, third, and fourth hand embarrassment for her. Because there's no way that I would let you be on the mic, streaming on the internet in front of all these people and basically call me dumb or stupid for staying with you, or you was talking about how you was the man and you was stepping out on it. Like, they would say this, like he would say comments like this all the time. He's so random with the disrespect towards Kelly. Like, and I just be sitting there and my discernment be going off and I be like, I'm like, God, I'm not going here. I'm not going here. I can't go here. Because why am I going here? And out of disobedience, I stopped going.
So this girl has been saying that this is a common thing in that church that she has been going to. Now, she stopped going. But she said it is a common thing for Reginald to belittle his wife, to berate his wife, to make fun of her, and to joke, all in the name of, look at us as this godly couple overcoming every obstacle that we were faced with. Little does she know, she is sleeping with her ops, her enemy. Oh my God. I call it common sense. This girl said, I can't go here. Why would I follow a man? Which I will never advise you to follow a pastor. I will advise you to follow the word of God that might be delivered through a pastor. Why would you follow him or his word when doing this to his wife? Now, I'm sure this question alone that I asked you, I'm sure there's a lot of church people that would like to answer my question and will in the comments. Now, the reason you have to do this because God said in Ephesians 6, I don't need to know. I'm going to use my common sense. And yes, I'm saved. A lot of people might say, okay, but you saved, but you don't seem delivered. Okay. And don't get it twisted. I love the Lord. Anything about me, anyone can tell you. I love the Lord. So this is not me bashing the church or bashing Christianity or whatever. No, I have a lot of testimonies where, I felt like God is in my life. And some people call it universe. Some people call it God. But I can tell you I've been in some situations, called out his name. And some people might say called out the universe. And as quick as that, he was there for me. And everybody have their own beliefs and their own pillars in life that strengthen them. So I am not the one for bashing anything, but I am the one for common sense. I find it really a shame that common sense sometimes in church is missing. Y'all ready? Here we go.
32 years today.
32 years today. We walked down the aisle.
Mm-hmm. Even though he was an hour late.
He was an hour late?
He showed up.
Reg, you didn't come to the wedding late, did you?
But God.
No, we ain't going to but God this. How you going to show up at the wedding late?
I was conflicted.
Yeah.
You got to remember, she was 19.
Mm-hmm.
I had just turned 21.
Right.
Now, some might say she was 19, he was 21. They were still young. So the fact that he was conflicted, it could be normal, cold feet. They're so young. Some might even say they were even too young to get married. But let's continue.
What made you decide to marry him?
I thought that the title husband would change him. I did. I walked in thinking that if he was my husband and I was his wife, that a title could make you change. I learned very quickly that titles do not make people change. And I also thought that if he would own me, I wanted to be Mrs. Steele. If he had ownership, then he would treat me accordingly.
Oh, God.
I had to learn that way that wasn't true either.
My God.
And so I really, I just knew that if we could just be united.
So let's pause there. United. Well, the first thing she said is, I thought that a title could change everything. So that makes sense, because then she proceeded to say, but I learned very quickly that a title doesn't change anything. And to that, girl, I say amen. Then she said, I thought that if he owned me, oh God, if he owned me and he owned something, that he would be more, he would take care of it more. So many things wrong with this. But then I keep remembering, she was young then. But don't think that because she was young then, that, that is what she then said and later turn it all around. No. It's not going to be a podcast like that. Let's continue.
Most women want 6-pack, 6-figure, 6 foot.
And that 666 sounds like the devil.
And what about that guy that's 5'8" with a gut that'll pay your bills?
Right.
That
And love you properly.
And love you properly.
You'll know where he is on the weekend.
That part.
He's not missing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. We talk about you not being his preference. Was he your preference?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
What
The
did you
moment I
like
saw
about him?
I loved his name.
His name?
Yeah.
Was he your preference? Yes, I loved his name. Oh, God. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
I thought Reginald was such a great name, and then he just, he was the all athlete everything back then, and
He was a superstar.
See, I met his mom when I was.
Little bit.
He was. I met his mom when I was 15, getting my hair done. She gave me his number. I thought he must be ugly because she's recruiting, because there's no social media. And so
she
I didn't
never
meet
called
her.
me.
I never called him. So 2 years later, I saw him at the mall with my dad, who was a teacher at the same high school he went to.
Yep.
He was looking at me. I was looking at him, but my dad's there. So that went away. About 6 months later, I was at a Black Youth Conference
Hold on real
convention.
quick. Why was you with her daddy?
She was
No,
with
I
her.
was with my dad.
Oh, you
At
with
the
your
mall,
dad.
at
Okay.
the mall.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And so
I knew her dad. He was a teacher at my high school.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And my dad goes, "Oh, that's Reggie Steele," and I'm like, "Whoa," because he's just so cute with his big old Letterman jacket.
So at that moment, did you connect that that's the same one?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
mom?
because I'd heard his name. His name, back then,
Yeah.
And so 6 months later, I was at a convention with a bunch of high school students, and this girl named. I almost said her name, but she said, me and Reggie broke up. And I said, Reggie who? And she said, Reggie Steele. And this girl was not cute. And I said to myself, if she got him, I know I can get him. And
She gave you the number.
she gave me the number.
Who did?
The girl, the ex-girl.
Gave you her ex number?
She gave his number. She gave me his number.
And then she
I
called
called him, and I told him who I was.
Hold on, what made her give you the number? You asked for it?
Well, we didn't get along. So we were kind of rivals. So, and he dogged her. So she's like, yeah, you go ahead. In other words, you need to get dogged out too.
And the blessing is I ran into her years later and I said, thank you for giving Kelly Conway my number.
That's right.
I said, she's Kelly Steele now.
Yeah.
That's what you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
And she
But
was happy for us.
when I called them, I said, we found out we lived down the street from each other.
So can you imagine, guys, looking at this? So the way she is bigging up this man even to the point where she said, this girl came by and she was not cute, and putting another woman down. And then by saying, and if I thought if she could have, I could have it too. Meanwhile, this girl is telling you he did me so dirty, but because I don't like you, I want him to do you dirty too. And she happily took his number and called him. Tell me this is not, I can't even call it toxic. This screams therapy, guys. Therapy for this woman. No, I know she was very young at that time, very insecure maybe. That's how it all started off, and it's what it is. And I know that the older ladies will that's how it goes. You got to stick by your man. That's how it goes. You got to build. In 1930s and the 1940s, miss. Yes, that's what you had to do. We came off of slavery, the people. You had to be in the house with your 16 kids. The man was doing the thing. You had no rights as a woman. Yes, that's what you had to do then. But these men today are taking everything but your socks. So now we're moving on to the part where they were actually married. Happily married to your number one prize girl. Let's watch.
He was radically saved, going to church, living for Jesus, changed his life completely. And then after we got married, about a couple months after we got married, he looked at me and said, I never had fun. And I didn't know what that meant.
As an adult.
Literally, he backslid for 5 years. Yeah. So he left this holy lifestyle back to smoking weed, drinking, chasing women. We would fight. Our house became the party house because my relationship with Jesus was attached to him. So if he went to church, I went to church. If he didn't go to church, I didn't go to church. And it is a form of idol worship, which I know that now. But he was my connection to Jesus. So at that time, I was chasing with knives, trying to jump on hoods of cars, fighting women. That was kind of a common thing. We were living in Section 8 housing on food stamps, having children. And it got so crazy that one day I said, I can't do this anymore because someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to either go to jail or get killed. Seriously.
So basically, Jasmine Sullivan, I broke the windows out your car was the theme song of your marriage. And
no problem.
You over here jumping on hoods.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's a true
finding
story.
him at clubs, confronting just the whole thing.
So help me understand that. So what happened to where you found yourself on the hood? He's in the car?
Or trying to leave.
Oh, so he's in the car. He ain't with the woman.
No.
She would sometimes hide my keys and help me look for him. That's how bad it was.
You would hide the keys and help him look.
Yes, be hunting. Where could they be?
And then and then back then you didn't have GPS. We didn't have cell phones. And so my friends would be like, "Hey, Reggie, man, your wife found us. She went in the club."
Yeah.
How would you find them?
I had mental GPS.
All my friends call her.
That's right. Well,
they call her to this day, Detective Kelly.
I could find anything. I would check mileage. I'd find hairs in the car. Whose hair is this?
Hair fibers.
Yeah.
You missed your college. You're supposed to work for forensics.
Well, sure. I actually ended up working for the police, actually. But
oh, you did?
For 13 years.
So finally, I was about.
Yes,
this
sir.
is true.
Yeah.
So I finally was like,
13
I'm going to leave him.
years.
At this point, I was working my way out of poverty. I got the job with the police department, and my aunt found me a job in Virginia to have me work there because I was going to leave. It was really bad. And I had my 2 babies with me trying to leave, and I put my hand on the door. And I'm not going to say God told me to stay or leave, but I felt like I couldn't leave. And I cried because I felt like.
You heard her. He was radically saved. He did everything. And then after a couple of years, he was like, I never had fun. And I'm going back to my old life. Now I can already hear church people. You see, that's that devil. That's that devil that took over him and whatever. No, man, he's just a narcissistic asshole. Devil. Everything that goes wrong is the devil. The devil did this. The devil did that. God did. Not everything is the devil. Not everything is from God. You were jumping on hoods. You were chasing with knives. Some of the church people are going to probably say, yeah, that's the devil too. Took over her too. And then I don't know if I can find the clip, but you go and look at this whole interview. But then she said that she was actually a cop at some point because she's telling us now, like her aunt got her that job, whatever. And she became like a police officer. And then they actually had a call that they had to make an arrest and everything. Guess who they arrested? Him. He was being a robber at night and had some holy job in the afternoon and in the mornings. she actually arrested him while he was supposed to be with the kids. Now, because of not losing her job, she was like, no, I'm not going to say anything. But they were actually together. And she was like, where are the kids? But because he was a robber at night, he left the kids at his mom's house or whatever. Can you imagine? And they are laughing through it. Yeah, it happened. So now we're heading to the conversation about actual purpose and preference. And God, let me tell you.
Purpose. I believe that this is my purpose.
Right.
Because she really wasn't my preference.
I wasn't.
But when she opened the door at 17 years old and I was 18, and I said, oh my God. And she said, what? I said, you're my wife.
Yep.
I knew it.
Yep.
And here I am in a backslidden condition, but I knew she was my wife.
Right.
Straight up. We need people to start kind of looking more for purpose than preference.
That's right.
Listen, I want y'all to just keep on talking because I'm going to show y'all an episode in my first season called Preference versus Purpose.
Oh,
that was the first thing that that's what God told me way back then.
That's the Lord. Because I knew I wasn't his preference. My husband dated little Latina girls with long hair and big titties.
You got to remember, I'm from Arizona.
In fact, when he first met me, he's like, you're cute, but you're a little heavier than what I'm used to. And I go, well, what are you used to? He's like, I'm used to, $1.20, $1.25. I said, well, I'm almost $2. So I don't know what to say here.
I'm almost $2. I love it. So why are you so self-aware though? How did you become that? I guess I'm just a realist when it comes to it. I understand. It is what it is. I mean, just because I'm not his preference don't mean he's not gonna, like this. I mean, he's been coming back for 32 years.
Well, 35 this December if you add up the other years.
But some people may look at that as you have low self-esteem.
Probably, maybe. And like you said, I had no value, had no worth. And I said that from the beginning. I said, I didn't know who I was. And I was just very, open and honest about that. But I was confident that we should be together. It's very unique.
But girl, he's been coming back for 35 years. But by that time, you didn't know that. You didn't know if he would come back. But I'm not really opposed to that, just saying whatever you like, but it's the way he like this, little Latino girls, and that just racial, I don't know. It's putting me off.
Guys. Look at that as you have low self-esteem.
Probably, maybe. And like you said, I had no value, had no worth. And I said that from the beginning. I said, I didn't know who I was. And I was just very, open and honest about that. But I was confident that we should be together.
You heard her say in the beginning, he said, you have no value, you have no worth. And, it was just, you have no value, you have no worth. If you do not walk on, oh my God, guys.
A lot of stuff that y'all are saying is going to trigger a lot of women. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going to look at it like, see, that's that struggle love they're talking about. I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want the struggle love. I don't want to have to deal with a man that has to go through all that and me lower my standard, lower my value, lower everything that I know that I am as a woman to work through the cultivation of a man, for a man to be in this broken state, disrespectful, calling me out my name, parading women in front of me, and then I'm going to pray for his deliverance and pray, no, God, I need the reformed man. Bring me the man that after he's been set free and delivered. I don't want that process.
They want that finished product.
So my question to you, because only you can say that, what would you, because I don't even want to say advice, how can you reframe or state, because this is your story, this is your journey.
My story.
It's your story.
Right.
Sure.
What would you say to the women that may be looking at this and say, see, that's that nonsense they talking about?
Well, I would say that's why you're single still. Because I'm sure somebody had been in your life already.
You don't pick the fight.
And you didn't want to give the investment for that person to become somebody, and then you lost them probably a long time ago. And you should have just worked with them from the beginning and just worked out the kinks and worked it out, because a man can always build.
So she's basically belittling us like he is belittling her and say that's probably why you're single. Now, girl, listen. To invest in a man and to help him and not seeing the investment. But what about you, girl? What about you? You should have stayed. And you see what I have a problem with this? Because I'm not going to pick a fight like they say. Ooh, you pissed them off now. No. But I just want you to hear yourself. I just want you to hear yourself, because you are preaching to young girls, thousands of women that are looking at you, that are in the most serious situations at home. And you're just telling them, basically, stick around. Because the fact that you didn't stick around is why you're going to be single. So take this half a cent man and just see, what you can do with him and see what you can build with him. And if he took everything you've got but your name, and go to therapy. Because that's basically what she said. Girl, you are advising people because look at how you're belittling them. That's why you're single. No, girl, that's why you are going to be single, sleeping with your ops. This ain't going to stay forever. And if it is, he going to take everything but your socks. He already took it from you. Low self-esteem. I'm $2. I'm not $1.25. I'm $2 because you're a big girl. Just by saying that, his narcissistic ass was like, I got her. She down to the ground. He even told you have no self-worth. You have no self-esteem. And then you're laughing about it. Yeah, he said that. Oh my God, what is this? I'm telling you every time. This world is coming to an end. Let's move on. Let me get myself together. Let me go drink some water.
So what made you keep coming back to her? She's not your preference.
She lived down the street. Again, see, I got a lot of friends that are single right now.
Yep.
They're divorced, single. They want exotic.
Right.
I'm like, some of y'all need to get you an auntie.
That's right. That can make a
That's
business.
a whole different conversation.
She should be able to
so my
cook.
wife's like, baby, what is that supposed to mean? You saying I'm auntie? I said, baby, you an auntie.
That's all right. It's okay.
I said, you used to be exotic.
I used to be.
Well, you a grandma now.
I'm 52.
Even the other day I told her, I said, you auntie exotic.
Yeah. That's right. I'll take it.
So even though you say that she's not your preference.
Terrence, let me get on your behind for a minute. What is so funny? You just be laughing and putting your teeth all out. What is so funny about this? You see, and that's why I say some men in church, out of church, sitting on a damn cloud. There's a lot of emotional intelligence just missing from the heart. And of course, something might have happened to them or whatever to get them to this point, but get yourself together before you jump on anybody's microphone and podcast advising other people. Lateras, even though you ask some of the questions and telling her like, okay, some people might want to say that you have no confidence. No, you tell her. These men sometimes have the greatest jobs and just lack emotional intelligence. Just have this deep disdain for women. Just living in the 90-20 still. Just feeling like, yeah, this is how it should go. Like the misogyny of it all. Like I can't. Guys, I had enough for today. Like dealing with Uncle Shay Shay and now this, it's enough for me for the week. Let me know what you think of this interview. Are you going to watch the full interview now that I showed you this? Did you already watch it? What was some of the clips that you found just really mind-blowing? Put them in the comments for me so we can react. Some of the things I might missed out. Let me know what was really mind-blowing to you. Thank you for being with me again. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.